What's up guys, it's Dan, it's Gone, and today we'll be doing my 2025 MLB regular and postseason predictions, including some award winners, breakouts, and my bold takes. With opening day less than 2 weeks away and the Tokyo series over a week before that, the season is quickly approaching. And with that comes breakouts, disappointments, and jaw-dropping statistics. This video will look to predict these outcomes through past trends and my gut feelings, although honestly, I have no ground on actually predicting this season. These are just my takes with my own reasoning. Feel free to post your own predictions in the comment section down below with your own rationale, and I'll react towards them. This video will cover some of the major award winners, the standings and World Series winners, as well as some bold takes for the 2025 MLB season. But before we get on to this video, could you guys please hit the like and subscribe button? Currently, only 3% of people who watch my videos are subscribed, so if y'all do, not only will it help me grow my channel, but also encourages me to create more videos like this one for you guys. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. Last year, both of the managers of the year came from surprise playoff teams in the Central Divisions. Stephen Vogt of the Cleveland Guardians and Pat Murphy of the Milwaukee Brewers both won it in 2024. Most of the time, this award goes to the team that missed the playoffs last year and maybe is slept upon going into the next season, but ends up being a major or minor surprise and ends up making the playoffs in the next season. With these conditions, my coach of the year for the American League is going to be Alex Cora. In a weakened American League East, I believe that the Red Sox have a very good chance at making the playoffs, if not winning the division entirely, which would be a relatively big surprise. Additionally, the Red Sox have also showcased that they want to compete this year, trading a huge haul for ace Garrett Crochet, and have the young stars and prospects to become a breakout team, especially from a lineup perspective. If these things do happen, then Red Sox manager Alex Cora will take home the American League Manager of the Year award. As for the National League, this becomes a lot more tough considering how top-heavy the league is. As of now, there are likely 3 or 4 spots already locked down, and since everyone expects the Dodgers, Braves, Phillies, and even Mets to lock down spots, and they already made the playoffs last year, it seems unlikely for any of these managers to win. You could go with Torey Lovullo of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They missed out on the playoffs last year and made a bunch of moves, including signing Corbin Burnes to put themselves in a great spot to make the playoffs in 2025, but it is already pretty much expected for them to make the playoffs. Therefore, I'm going to go with Cubs' Craig Counsell to win the award. Outside of that final wildcard spot, the National League Central Division is likely the biggest question mark when it comes to seeding in the National League. The Cubs do seem to be the favorites at the moment, revamping their bullpen and trading for star Kyle Tucker, and since the Cubs were barely a 500 team last year, 90 wins in an NL Central crown should give Craig Counsell a Manager of the Year award and win in 2025. Now moving on to the Rookie of the Year award winners, I already broke down many of the candidates for them in my video dedicated to rookies, so feel free to check out that video after this one for a more in-depth breakdown. However, I did end up releasing that video before Roki Sasaki and other international free agents ended up signing. So here's my most recent take on the Rookie of the Year winners. In the American League, nothing changes. Jason Dominguez, despite recent struggles adjusting to the corner outfield position, is my pick for American League Rookie of the Year. He's projected to be the starting left fielder with a full starter's workload of at-bats, in which his above-average bat-to-ball skills combined with his condensed, power-minded frame should generate a bat well above the league average at Yankee Stadium. Additionally, he's fairly athletic for his size, so even if it takes some time to adjust to the fly ball reads in left field, at the end of the day he should be above average defender as well, making him my pick for AL Rookie of the Year. And in the National League, even though I picked Cubs' Owen Casey with my initial selection, the Roki Sasaki signing with the Dodgers makes so much sense for him as an overwhelming favorite for the award, that I have to go with him. Sasaki may be the best pitcher ever from Japan. He's already got 3 above-average pitches, including a triple-digit fastball and nasty splitter that tunnels perfectly with said fastball, and great control over all of them. Combine that with the Dodgers pitching lab, and Sasaki all of a sudden can get even better than the monster numbers he put in the WBC and NPB. In that case, even though Sasaki likely will not get the complete innings total that you would see from a typical starting pitcher, due to the Dodgers potentially running a 6-man rotation and taking his career cautiously from the start, his potential is just so overwhelmingly high due to the repertoire that it would be unwise to not bank on his career as a starter jumping off from the very get-go. Now, time for the arguably hardest award to predict and the Cy Young Award for each league. There's just so much variation that comes amongst the pitching side, especially recently with the levels of injuries and breakouts that, while sometimes pitching can be predicted, most of the times it's somewhat an educated dart throw. Starting in the National League, last year 35-year-old Chris Sale posted a magical season en route to winning the Cy Young, and I believe that the experience that comes with age triumphs again, with 34-year-old Zach Wheeler winning his first Cy Young Award with the Phillies. Last year, pitching 200 innings, Wheeler went on to strike out 224 batters with a career-best 2.57 ERA. While Skeens may be the favorite for the NL Cy Young Award at the moment, Wheeler has consistently showcased the ability to pitch deep into games with dominant innings, and is only shown to get better with age, partially due to a repertoire change over the past couple of years, removing his less effective but still good cutter in favor of a better sweeper and much better sinker. Wheeler is excellent, and I think that even with a great division, lineup-wise and expectational pressure that comes with being on the Phillies, Wheeler posts a similar great season and wins the Cy Young Award this time. As for the American League, I'm going to go stick with experience again and go with Jacob deGrom. In any season in which Jacob deGrom starts the season healthy, we have to respect his sheer talent. While deGrom may be an afterthought for many fans since he signed with the Rangers in 2023, we can't forget his dominant run in 2018 and 2019, where he was the hardest pitcher ever to get on base against, winning back-to-back Cy Young Awards and a 4-year run from 2018 to 2021, where his combined ERA started with a 1. deGrom finished 9th in Cy Young voting despite pitching less than 100 innings in 2021, so while volume boosts the profile of Zach Wheeler, deGrom's sheer dominance is his calling card. Going into the 2025 season, deGrom will be 36 years old. However, while injuries have limited his career so far, it also means that there isn't much mileage on his arm that there would be on many other 36-year-olds. Right now, deGrom looks healthy and as dominant as ever, and I'm betting on the sheer talent to all come through for deGrom to win the Cy Young Award for the American League in 2025. Lastly, and arguably the most noteworthy of the major awards and the MVP, for the National League, I would be foolish to pick anybody but Shohei Ohtani. Barring injury, no player in the National League quite impacts the game on the field quite like Ohtani. Already probably the best hitter in the National League, becoming the first player to win the MVP award strictly from the DH position, Ohtani will also pitch during the 2025 MLB season as well, in which even as a top 30-ish pitcher being his floor, Ohtani will still provide tremendous pitching value on top of his otherworldly bat. Even if we do see those hitting numbers drop just a little bit, his pitching value on top of his hitting value is what brings him the most valuable player award in the National League. And even with voter fatigue potentially playing a factor, he is the most valuable player in the National League due to his otherworldly combination of impacting the game from both the pitching and hitting perspective. As for the American League, while Aaron Judge is the rightful favorite as when he's on his game, he's probably the best power hitter in the league, I'm going to go with probably the best well-rounded 5-tool player in the American League in Bobby Witt Jr. because of his meteoric rise and propensity to simply get better after every season. In his rookie year, Witt Jr. was below average defensively and mediocre with the bat. In 2023, he was slightly above average with the bat and amazing defensively. And in 2024, he led the league in hits while remaining elite defensively. Every season, Witt Jr. builds upon his previous season and has showcased that he can carry a team for long stretches at a time. And while building upon a season in which Witt Jr. posted a 9.4 BWAR season and a second-place MVP finish may be tough, no player I'd rather put my faith in more than Bobby Witt Jr. to do just that and win the American League MVP award in 2025. Now, moving on to the standings and starting with the American League East, I think that the Garrett Cole and Giancarlo Stanton injury news hurts the Yankees a ton, and questions about the Yankees' depth in the lineup and rotation that were already there before the news are now amplified even more. Resultantly, I think that the Red Sox do end up winning the division, with the Yankees finishing as a close second, although both of them end up making the playoffs. For the Red Sox, adding Crochet adds so much depth, and even though injuries have weakened the back of this rotation, taking out Crawford, Giolito, and Bayo for the time being, they should return relatively early in the season to aid the staff. This lineup additionally is an embarrassment of riches, as even if someone does go down with injury, they can simply call up a prospect from their big three in Mayer, Anthony, or Campbell. Depth is always tested during the season, and I think that the Red Sox' ability to cover their holes with quality will cause them to win the division. The Orioles finish in third thanks to their amazing lineup and end up making the playoffs, but the lack of a bona fide ace in their staff causes them to remain frustratingly mediocre throughout the season. Finishing fourth are the Rays, who have a bunch of returning pieces, especially in the rotation, to remain good but not great, but due to a tough division are on the outside looking in come playoff time. Lastly, finishing fifth, unfortunately, are the Toronto Blue Jays, who are a much better team than the seedings may show, but are in a tough division and end up trading some pieces like Scherzer, Bichette, or even Vlad at the deadline if they're not in ample spot to compete going into the second half of the season. Last year, the American League Central saw 3 teams make the playoffs in the Guardians, Royals, and Tigers, with the Twins close behind in the standings. This year, each of those 4 teams has their own rationale for winning this tightly contested division. Arguably, while Detroit may have the best top of the rotation in the division with Skubal and Flaherty, Kansas City has the best rotation in general, while Minnesota has a formidable rotation of their own and a very good bullpen to boot. Similarly, Cleveland may have the weakest rotation of the 4, but a very strong bullpen of their own and a very powerful and deep lineup. This division will eat itself up, and honestly, I think that the winner will come down to the wire, and all of these teams will finish in the low to high 80s in terms of their win total. Right now, I think that the Twins are probably the most well-rounded team top down, and if I had to pick a winner before the season started, I would go with them. The Royals finished second, followed by the Guardians and Tigers, with the White Sox finishing fifth, although with a much more competitive roster thanks to the emergence of more young talent. Lastly, in the American League, for the West, I think that the Rangers are the most well-rounded team from a lineup rotation and bullpen perspective to win the West. A lot of the Rangers' resurgence simply comes from staying healthy and productive. Seager is still a top 30 player, Semien, Carter, and Garcia are all very productive when healthy, Wyatt Langford is everyone's breakout candidate, and adding Jock Peterson and Jake Berger adds even more slug to a very deep lineup. From the rotation side, DeGrom is back and healthy, and the rest of the rotation and bullpen looks very solid, if not downright good. At second place, I'm going to go with Houston. Their lineup, despite losing Tucker and Bregman, still looks very good with the acquisition of Christian Walker and Isaac Paredes. Their rotation, led by Framber Valdez and Hunter Brown, and their bullpen, led by Josh Hader and Brian Abreu, are also very good. And I think that this team locks up a playoff spot despite being so deep into their contention window with an aging roster. Third place, I have the Mariners. With their dominant rotation, they'll be one of the first teams on the outside looking in thanks to a subpar lineup. In fourth place are the A's, who have some quality pieces, but a subpar rotation will be their downfall. Lastly, at fifth place are the Angels, who, like the A's, have some great pieces, but lack the all-around depth to really make some noise come playoff time. Now, moving on to the National League, and starting with the uber-competitive National League East, the Phillies, Braves, and Mets all will look to dominate en route to a division crown. The Phillies and Braves are looking at an aging roster with World Series potential, and are facing immense pressure after falling short the last couple of seasons in the playoffs. Then the Mets cement themselves as contenders in their own right thanks to an amazing season in 2024 that saw them reach all the way to the NLCS, and prolific spending during the 2025 offseason that was led by Juan Soto and a re-signing of Pete Alonso. Right now, as of this moment, I'm going to go with the Phillies to win the division. Adding Jesus Luzardo to a team with Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, Christopher Sanchez, and Ranger Suarez makes this rotation potentially the most potent in all of baseball outside of the Dodgers. Their lineup is also still as great as ever, upgrading with Max Kepler, and their bullpen, while losing Hoffman and Esteves, adds Jordan Romano. Finishing second and third, also with playoff spots, are the Braves and Mets respectively. The Braves are still in World Series mode, with bounce-backs throughout the lineup and Strider Acuna returning from injury, and the Mets finish in third thanks to injury questions throughout their lineup and a rotation coupled with a tough division, but still make the playoffs with their star talent. The Nationals are a scrappy team that is on the outside looking in due to being in a tough division as well, but grow increasingly more dangerous as more of their young players get acclimated to the major league level. Lastly, the Marlins are in firm rebuilding mode as they look for more young guys like Division de los Santos and Agustin Ramirez to cement themselves as young building blocks, and may even look to trade more veteran pieces at the deadline. And like its American League counterpart, the winner of the National League Central will be tightly contested. All 5 teams have a decent chance at winning the division if a couple of things break their way. But right now, I have the Cubs as winners of the division, as adding Kyle Tucker to this lineup adds legitimate star power to a lineup that is filled with quality pieces top down. And they have top prospects like Matt Shaw, Owen Casey, Moises Ballesteros, and Kevin Alcantara to add both upside and depth from a lineup perspective. Meanwhile, the Brewers lost Adames, Montez, and Gary Sanchez in free agency and traded Devin Williams. A surprise team in 2024, they do take a small step back in 2025 and end up missing the playoffs, finishing second in the division. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Reds show signs of life and challenge the Cubs for a spot thanks to their young cornerstone pieces of Elly De La Cruz and Matt McClain, but depth in the rotation ends up being their downfall. Finishing fourth are the Pirates, who are a lot like the Mariners in the NL Central, always remaining competitive thanks to a very good rotation, but without a great lineup top down to make some noise. Lastly, the Cardinals are in a very confusing spot in terms of their contention window, with some pieces like Mason Wynn and Jordan Walker, but they don't have the depth nor direction to truly challenge the teams at the top of the Central and end up finishing in a very disappointing fifth. Lastly, we have the National League West, and I'd be hard-pressed to make a case for anyone but the Dodgers. And this is no knock on the Diamondbacks, Padres, Giants, or Rockies, but the Dodgers have assembled the best team ever in the 21st century and are long shots to go anywhere but first in the division and the number 1 seed in the National League with outstanding star talent and depth in every facet. In second place, also with a playoff spot, the Diamondbacks were similarly aggressive this offseason, although not to the extent of the Dodgers. They did add Burns to a rotation that suddenly looks like one of the best in baseball, along with Josh Naylor to replace Christian Walker. They also look like a very strong offense as well. They barely missed the playoffs last year on a tiebreaker and make it in this time. The Padres finish in third in a very competitive division, and this could even go down to fourth if they look to trade guys on the last year of their contract like Cesar Arias if they're in an unfavorable spot in July. The team jumping them for third would be the Giants, who right now have in fourth, and they have a bunch of intriguing pieces like Jung-Hoo Lee and newcomer Willie Adames to aid a strong rotation led by Logan Webb. Lastly, the Rockies are in firm rebuilding mode, with the main prospect to keep an eye on making his debut being Chase Dollander. Right now, the National League West is a very competitive division. The top 4 teams I could all see making up the playoffs if they weren't in this tough division, but for now, I have the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Padres, Giants, and then Rockies. Now, my playoff standings look something like this. In the American League, the Rangers are the number 1 seed thanks to a quality team top down and a weaker division relatively speaking. The Red Sox finish as the 2 seed and the Twins as the 3 seed. For the wild card, the Yankees take the first wild card spot, followed by the Astros and then the Orioles. For the National League, the Dodgers and their super team are the number 1 team, followed by the Phillies and the Cubs. For the wild card, the Braves are the 4 seed, the Diamondbacks are the 5 seed, and the Mets are the 6. My pennant winners are the Rangers, who ride the top of the rotation in homer-heavy lineup all the way to a World Series appearance, and the Phillies, who after years of playoff disappointment and experience, have an aggressive trade deadline and hungry team to win the NL pennant, and also triumph over the Rangers in 7 games. And now that we've covered my award winners, standings, and World Series predictions, I also want to cover individual and team bold predictions that I could see happening despite their low chance. Once again, feel free to comment on your bold predictions along with the subsequent rationale in the comments down below, and I'll let you know if I agree or disagree with your take. For mine, my first bold take is that Sandy Alcantara is a top 5 Cy Young Award getter and also gets traded to the Yankees relatively early into the season. After winning the Cy Young Award in 2022, Alcantara took a big step back during the 2023 season and missed all of the 2024 season recovering from Tommy John surgery. However, going into the 2025 season, Alcantara looks healthy and was reportedly throwing in the high 90s to triple digits during spring training. It's likely that 2023 he was hampered by injuries, so for the 2025 season, a healthy Alcantara could look more like his 2022 Cy Young form than his disappointing 2023 season. As for the trade to the Yankees, losing Garrett Cole really hurts, and the Yankees, even though they have a relatively underwhelming farm system after all of those trades in the trade deadline, still have some pieces to get it done. Additionally, they also have the drive to make the trade happen within their competitive division, and the Marlins have showcased to make trades relatively early in the season, trading Luis Arias to the Padres in May. My next hot take is really 2 hot takes in that both the Athletics and Nationals finish as top 10 offenses in all of baseball. I made an entire video covering how the Nationals could make the playoffs and said how it all started with their lineup, primarily led by a James Wood breakout. However, their entire infield and outfield is surprisingly deep and young, and with multiple breakout seasons, the Nationals could make it happen. For more in-depth individual player projections, check out my video above. As for the Athletics, they are similarly being slept on with their lineup. Brent Rooker had another excellent season in 2024 and looks to be one of the better hitters in all of baseball along with Lawrence Butler, whose outstanding second half led to an extension and immense optimism for his career as well. JJ Bleday, Shea Langoliers, and Zach Geloff are all above average bats for their position, and even Miguel Andujar is a very productive bat when healthy. Lastly, Jacob Olson, a former top prospect with a tremendous bat, could provide even more quality lineup depth for an offense that will have to carry for the A's to make any noise this season. My last prediction is more prospect related, and that is that Chandler Simpson finishes as a top 10 center fielder by the end of the 2025 season. In 110 games in the minor leagues last year, Simpson stole 104 bags while batting .355, .401, .397, walking more than he struck out. Simpson uses his speed to be a monster on the base paths and is also one of the best defenders in all of the minor leagues. His game just synergizes with itself so perfectly. He's a great leadoff hitter and is Steven Kwan but much faster. At a position in center field in which power is not much of a priority, Simpson is a unique and intriguing player to keep an eye on once he makes his major league debut as a defensive first guy with amazing speed and on-base abilities to boot. Think a Luis Arias but with better defense and trailblazing speed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, if you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe, and comment down below new video ideas. Also, let me know if you like the bold takes, and comment down below your own bold takes and your own predictions. Let me know what I got right, what I got wrong, and if you would like to see a bold takes video of yourself just by itself. Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.